Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Grow
Good morning.
Life. Number
902.
5. Can you imagine it? We're on number 5. Just amazing. But what are we talking about today, Jackie? What's going on? Hi, I'm Patty.
And I'm Jackie. And together we are Grow Live. And here we answer your farm and garden questions, helping others grow a healthier world. Just like you guys, one question at a time, one garden at a time. Our goal is helping you guys be successful in growing a healthier planet, a healthier food. How's it going this week, Patty?
It is going fantastic. But still pretty cold when I look out that window, and it was really cold when I went out there this morning. But I promised you guys we're going to do some things to get our hands dirty, so that is what we are going to do. You got us a timer running, right, Jackie?
No. I'm sorry. I got so thrown off with the thing. But I have both things working.
Yeah.
Okay. Going.
Crazy. And we're trying to make even more technology happen today because I made us a little video, but look what we got going here. So I juiced my celery I was telling you about, and I put them in these little ice cube things. Actually, they're really big ice cube things. And then I put cucumber and celery together, and wow, does it ever make you feel good. So if anybody's feeling like they don't have enough vitamins, that is what we need to be doing. But first, we got to start growing this stuff we could juice, right? But look, it's still the February moon, the hunger moon, and this is what my cat thinks of it. This is Pretty Kitty, and she's like, why the heck the snow doesn't get out of here? And over at the Sleeping Buffalo, I went over there yesterday. I thought, surely something can be alive over there. And look, it is.
What is that?
It's borage, and I'm going to be teaching you more about that this afternoon. That we want that plant growing, and look at how big it is already. This is in the ground. It's just self-seeded. It fell out in the ground and seeded itself. But there's these too. That's self-seeded mint. That the seeds, we would let the plants go to flower for the pollinators, and then the seeds fell onto the ground, and there they are. They're the first things up. And then look at these rock stars. That is sweet alyssum. Isn't it gorgeous? And so we'll talk more about that later this afternoon. But today we are going to get our hands dirty. I'm going to be teaching you today that what I learned at Growing Power several years ago. This is their method of sprouting sprouts. Look at all those sprouts. Don't that make you feel good? You guys can see them? Yeah. And so they just stack them. These are the 1-inch trays that I showed you last week. We're going to plant us some sprouts. Super exciting, huh? Items we're going to need. Don't forget the markers. We're going to need those. And our seeds, which today I'm doing peas and sunflowers. Lots of different ones we could be planting. Okay, now we're going to take our planting media. Wetted this down, pre-moistened it a couple days ago. And wow, smell that. Oh my gosh, it smells like heaven on earth. Okay, and so then we're going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and fill that up. Not all the way, about to there is all, because we got to have room for the seeds and a little more planting media on top. That's what my compost looks like. No, I pre-wetted that. And this is the worm castings. Mix them together, a little moisture. Water will blend these guys pretty good. They're all aquatic creatures. Now, this is what our soil looks like, and our name tag. We're going to cover the seeds with the soil. Put this marker line there to keep track of where those seeds started and ended. Pat them down. We want to make sure they got some good contact so they're not rolling around. And, well, next we're going to add the compost extract, which is here. Blend those together, pour those over the top of the seeds. And you can see the liquid coming off, and then I'm trying to keep the most of the compost in the tray. We just want to get them damp. The microbes are going to glue themselves to the seeds. Now we're going to cover them up. Once they're covered, we covered them up, then we're going to get good seed-soil contact. Dampen them with fresh water. This needs to be rainwater or purified water, non-chlorinated. Put our markers in and then put the lid on top. Germinate them in the dark. So once we put this lid on, then it's going to be maybe, check every 3 to 4 or 5 days, see what's going on. As soon as they sprout, we take the lid back off. I told you we were going to get our hands dirty this week. Yeah, I'm going to taste them now. So just check on them. Keep them where they're damp. I use a little mister to. That's what I did on Monday. So that's the procedure. You guys will have the recording, so you'll be able to stop and go back through that if you'd like. And to get, Sue needed in the room. How do I get her in the room view? There, I think I did it.
Okay. Lacey's here too.
Yep. So if you want to ask any questions right now, we can unmic. So that tray I set on top was just a second planting tray, and I set it on top. And I like to use the tall one for that part so that they have some room. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute as to why we want that to happen. Did anybody have any questions on the basic procedure?
Yes, I do.
Hey,
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Did you soak your peas before planting?
I didn't, and I'll show you the results of that today here in a minute. I normally would if I had extra time. I didn't have time that day, and I knew I hadn't taught you guys to do the pre-soaking, so no, I didn't pre-soak at all. These were hard, solid peas. If I was going to pre-soak those harder shelled seeds, I do it in the compost extract for maybe just a half an hour or something, not very long. We're not trying to sprout in that pre-soak. We're just trying to get the biology to glue themselves to the seed coat, which they did, and not just pouring that over that. Because every time we water, that distributes those biology around the planting tray too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if there is any other questions, I'll go on to this next here. A little picture here.
We have one question.
Okay.
Diana asked, what type of soil would you recommend for daikon? I guess she talking about daikon radishes, because I thought I ordered daikon radishes yesterday and I ended up with this daikon Asian cabbage. So I don't know.
Well, let's just stick to the basic question. We want to use the soilless planting media that we talked about last night. Or last show, I'd like to refer back to show 4 to learn that. But it's a soilless planting media. I use Sunshine, I've used Pro Mix, and both of them have microphysal in it. And that's what you prefer. There's other brands out there too, but those are the ones I'm aware of. Lori?
Yeah, the sound didn't really come through very well on my end. I'm wondering if you could maybe put that video somewhere after the show that we could review it, other than here,
Yes. It's on YouTube too. So it'll be in both places. And then I'm going to walk you through some of this. This is your supply list right here that I got in front of us on our screen of what you would need. Now, in the little video, I didn't fill the tray up, and you'll see in the pictures I've taken since then. I did that workshop of starting that and make that little video for you guys on Monday. So we got some other pictures coming. But these are the basic things that you need. And here's the planting media that we was talking about for the question. That's what it looks like. It looks pretty white because of the pure light, but that's just the makeup of it. And you need 3 of these trays, one for the soil and the seeds that has holes in them. You see the holes here? a one underneath this one that doesn't have any holes in it, and it's going to be a catch for your water, any runoff, or if you eventually want to water from below. That tray is that purpose. Then the third tray is just the cover tray to cover it until we germinate, which I'll show you what happened here in a second. That happens fast. Right here, look at this. Isn't this amazing? This is in day 5. So from Monday, I planted on Monday, so Tuesday really is 4 days. I planted on Monday afternoon, and this morning, this is what they look like. Here's the top of the soil tray, and they're heaving a good 1/2 inch over the top of the tray. And these are peas, they're really strong, and sunflowers will do this too. They're gonna heave that soil way high in the air.
Hey, there's our 5-minute warning.
Jackie, okay. All right, so you're gonna have this heaving take place. Now I've taken the lid off, right? I've not had my grow lights on. They've been in the dark under that tray. Today I took them off because now these are ready for sunlight. And I got sunflowers over here. I'm pretty sure this is probably as a sunflower. And then these are the peas. And then I put in some spinach and other stuff over there. Now, that's at one point. These are all going to germinate at different times because they have different germination dates and times. Okay, Lori, what's your question? Or maybe Jackie's got a question.
That was my question. Okay.
Did my hand go up?
Yep.
Is that better than the timer?
We'll ignore you. Oh, so this is the next day. That was yesterday. This is today. I'm sorry, I had them out. This is sunflower.
Oh, wow.
This is gonna grow. That's in one 24-hour period of time. And that was without pre-soaking those seeds. Eileen, this was just doing exactly what I showed you in that little video. Yes, Eileen.
Did you use a heat mat, or is it just the ambient air from your house?
Nothing yet. My house is about 67 degrees, maybe max. They are in a south window, but they're not getting a lot of light from that window. They're in a growing rack, really. You can see my rack back here, but I had no lights on, right? And I had the top on top of them. At Growing Power, they stack them. So like on that day 1, that tray's on the bottom, and the second day you plant more of them, you slide it underneath of that tray, so then they go up, up, up. So this is day 5 up here, and then they got 5 of them in a row. Day 1's down here underneath. And then on that 5th day, they open the lid, and then that is moved into the lower trays that we've seen in their mass planting on their bed, and then ready to go ahead and grow, which they only have them on there for 5 days, and then they're ready to harvest. So super fast, exciting. Okay, any questions on the sprouts starting? And I'll try to look up a germination schedule so you guys can know which seeds are lots faster than others, so that it's kind of nice to have one tray set up where they're going to germinate similar time periods. Like when I was growing them for the school cafeteria, I'd plant all one of them of sunflowers, and then the kids would plant another one of peas. So we would have 2 different things going on at the same time, but in separate trays. All right, so I have a lot of questions about buying fruit trees, and so I thought I would just go through what I do to buy some fruit trees, and so far it's been highly successful, so I thought I would share it with you. And this will include the grapes and some other bushes too. Oh, don't tell me that we're in the right show. Look at that. I took this the other day. Now the apple come out of my house, but the apple was grown on this tree. Isn't that cool? And then the storage capabilities of this apple has been that long. So that's pretty amazing. So that's one thing that we're going to be looking for on these apples. There's a lot of things that we can look for on what to do. This is a Toka plum. It's in its 3rd year, and these produce this big a plum on their 3rd year. So it's really pretty cool. So where I go to buy these guys is St. Lawrence Nursery. Here's their website. So you guys can join on if you want to jump over there, this is called the St. Lawrence Nursery. They're in New York. They're in upstate New York in the mountains, extremely hardy place to grow trees. And they've been doing it a long, long time. The older guy passed the operation on to these new guys in the last 3 or 4 years. So let's say I want to go buy an apple. So we'll go to the apples. And I went on here the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get these people going because lots of these are sold out. They're not available.
Selling out like
So,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Steve, you name it, it's selling out like crazy.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to give you a fair warning to hurry up and get whatever it is you want to grow, even if it's potatoes lined up, because we're going to have more gardeners than we've probably ever had in history, maybe even more than we had in the World War II era. So be warned, if you want seeds, you better have them in hand, because I think it's going to get rough. Okay, so the first thing I look at when I look at these apple varieties, I look at these things. And why I like St. Lawrence Nursery is not only the hardiness, and they're growing it in a growing zone 2 to 3. There's lots of reasons why I like this nursery. But they also share lots of education so you can really pick out what kind of tree you want for your own use. Where the other suppliers are pretty generic. They're probably telling you this stuff, but they're not telling you a lot of these other things. So if you need extreme hardy, that's the 50 below Fahrenheit. That's what I chose, right? That's what I want because I've seen 55 below zero in Hinsdale before. So I can use this one too. So I choose between these two, the V and the E. So I look for that V and E on the tree. These I ignore. No matter how great they sound, I don't buy them. Now Jackie, over there in the mountains, she could easily buy the P. She's probably not going to go to 55 degree below zero. So you look at that for yourself and decide, can I get into these varieties or not? I know I can't, so I buy an E or a V. We're going to go down and look at that same apple that I just showed you a picture for. This is a Harlowson. They're a really mainstay tree that is just as reliable as anything you can ever come across. Okay, so this is the cultivar's name, and this is the hardiness. This is the parentage. And so apple trees are always a cross. Apples would not be what they are today without humans involved in what's happened. It's a yellow-red stripe. And so those apples look a little green when I picked them, because I chose to pick them green because I wanted them for juicing, and I don't want super sweet apples for juicing. If I had let it gone further to maturity, it would turn more red and brighter yellow. It's a mid to late season. Now that's super important to me because I probably will get frost in September, and I may get real killing frost in September. I want those fruit to be mature then. So don't go with a extremely late season. This is when they're going to ripen. I have one tree though that ripens in July, early August, and I forgot that when I ordered the tree the first year that it had its apples on, and they rotted on the tree because I didn't recognize that the tree was ready to pick. I'm from Michigan. We've never picked fruit on apple trees in the summer. So there's some that you can, so that's something you can look for. This one I like too because of all these reasons. It's good for baking, cider, eating, very productive, very, very healthy, and it's resistant to fire blight, right? So all of Montana is in a fire blight zone, so we should watch for that. The tree is going to shift between 2 and 4 foot height. Okay, so that gives you some ideas on the apples. We're not going to get any further into those apples because we want to go look at a couple other things here. We want to look at grapes. Because when I first bought grapes, I went to a neighbor that had been growing them for 15 years, and he convinced me I could grow grapes. Well, every other gardener I'd ever talked to said, you can't grow grapes in Montana. So don't listen to other people. You find out what really is growing in your area and go for it. So that big gorgeous grape that I show in my videos and stuff is the King of the North. And it's hardy to 40 below. That's incredibly hardiness for a grape. So I think that's probably as extreme as you're going to get. The others are probably less hardy than that. And not a lot of information there, but it produces 5 to 6 times the growth per year than any other in this climate. And it's just gorgeous, unbelievable amounts of growth on it. I did pick out another grape that I thought I would go and try to buy this year. So I don't have a lot of space left to add new things, but I was very interested in the seedless one because the kids at school love to eating grapes, and I didn't think that I could grow them here, but look at this, hardy to 50 below zero. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to buy one of these guys, and then I'll grow it on a fence, and then I'll train it on the fence, right? So that it's not taking up a lot of extra space. Oh, let's see, go back here, because I got a picture here coming up. I'm going to show you that will kind of remind you back there on your apples, you got to be conscious of pollinator. Our community is full of apple trees, especially crab apples, great big, gorgeous, mature ones that bloom for long periods of time. And so they're probably helping me out with the pollinating issue. But at the time I bought the Harlands, I made sure I bought like a Honeycrisp, and I think I bought a State Fair. So you'll read, when you get further into the details of those apples, they got a sheet in their catalog that will show you all the preferred pollinators that will work with that tree. So you got to make sure you have 2 apple trees that will pollinate together. Now, when I bought my elderberries, I only ended up with 1 surviving elderberry because I had neglected to recognize that they really love wet conditions, and I didn't give them enough water. And so I ended up with just 1, and it had gorgeous, gorgeous blooms this year. But guess what? It didn't have a pollinator. So I need to buy 1 this year in order to get my existing one to produce fruit. And so that's what I'll do, is go ahead and buy 1 to be able to get my elderberries to be producing. So cherries are self-pollinating. You don't have to do anything for them. Raspberries, you don't have to worry about. It's just really your apples and elderberries. This is the Canadian, I call it a Canadian pie cherry, but its real name is Bally up there. Fantastic. Wow. It was supposed to be a tree, but the first year it got winter killed back. So it was only about 1 foot tall. And then it went crazy thereafter, growing bush. And I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll just let it do its thing. I thought, well, it would never produce, that if it's struggling that hard in the first couple of years. But look at this. This is its 5th year. And I could have made 2 cherry pies off that, but I chose to make jam. Just unbelievable. And it didn't require a pollinator. Here's the elderberry. And I thought, man, I am going to be set. I have elderberries like crazy. I could make juice and have all of my vitamins and everything. And I had about 5 little tiny berries that shriveled up and died because I didn't have a pollinator. So kind of important to recognize which ones you do and which ones you don't need them. And they like wet conditions. So you'd want to put them, they like tree edges too. I've got that part right. This is the north, and this is the west over here. So that part of the location is great, but it really needs a lot more water than it's getting. Even though it looks great, right? But it would need more to really be productive. So, like I said, my area is starting to look full, but now I'm adding trees. This is a Honeycrisp and this is a Honeycrisp, and I'm training both of them to run sideways here. So these 2's brows are going to meet in the middle, and they may end up, I may have to train them to cross there. but this whole fence is going to be apple tree. And they're not going to be over in here. And so these beds are going to continue to be productive beds with the apple trees just being there.
Patti, how do you train them to grow along the fence?
We'll do another show on that. That's will be a show all by itself, and it will be coming up here this winter because we will do the basic training this winter.
Okay, thanks.
The real training, though, for those ones that we're going against the fence, or if you want to make a fan or anything really cool, is summer pruning. And we do that pruning in the summer. But the very first year is when, and second year is when I decided which ones are going to be my main branches coming out and start training them. So we'll go over that here later, probably later here in February even. Any other questions? I know that was a lot of stuff to kind of absorb in a short period of time, but what do you got, Eileen?
So you're in a zone that's 4, you said?
We're zone 3 to 4.
Okay, I'm in 7A.
Yep.
Would that tree, or like an apple or a cherry that are cold tolerant, could I grow them in mine, or do they need cold to really do well?
I would find out from your local gardeners and orchardists.
Okay.
I would go to an orchard and find out. They would really know, because they would know also what ones have trouble with what in your area. Like we know we have fire blight in Montana, where you may have a different issue, leaf curl or peach. There's all kinds of peach problems and different. So find out from them, go and find out from them. And I'm sure there's probably some organic growers that have got some orchards too. Find out what they're doing, because the organic orchards and the regenerative type orchards are way, way different than your chemical orchard.
Okay.
As far as how they think you can handle pest and disease problems.
Okay. Because they grow a lot of apples, you know, there's apple farms. I mean, they're dwindling in this area. I'm in New Jersey, but on the eastern seaboard. But, you know, they do blueberries too well. We had cranberry bogs in this area. But just making sure that it could survive. If you buy something that's cold hardy, real cold hardy, I'm not sure that it could survive in the 7, you know? That's
right. Yep.
Thank you.
But that's the reason why you're in the Garden State area.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
It's
I
beautiful.
mean, it's amazing when you go through the countryside. I did clear back in the 80s, and I'm like, wow, this is like heaven on earth for growing plants.
Yes, it is. I'm finding that out, being a newbie.
Yeah,
I'm in my sunroom and I'm sprouting seeds. It's wonderful.
All right, any other questions, you guys? What do we got going on, Jackie? How are we coming?
I got one.
Lori has her hand waved.
Hey, Lori. How you doing?
Hey, good. So I went on the St. Lawrence nursery website a couple of weeks ago and I ordered some apple trees and grapes, berries. I got a bunch of stuff coming. I'm going to be busy. But one thing they were out of pears and they were out of plums, I think. So I was just wondering if you had a good alternate source or if I should just check with like Tillerus.
I would check with Tillerus, yeah, for sure. I check with Tillerus. I've bought stuff from them and they've done really well. And they're just a book full of knowledge, and they're putting mycorrhizal in every pot that they send out to give the grower more chances, higher chances for success. So yeah, they're a good deal. Okay.
Thanks.
Really super quick, Patti. The alarm just went off, but Sue says, what was that nursery name? And I was wondering that too. Did you say Tillerus or something?
Yeah, in Great Falls, in Tillerus, right off Central, I believe, right outside of town, on the west side of town. It's just fantastic. I
wanted to know about the grapes. Are grapes like a tree that like each year it gets bigger and they grow more? Will you get grapes the first year? Like when Mike first planted I couldn't believe your grapes that you had in that classroom garden picture you showed me. Like and then the grapes we've tried to grow for years.
Yeah, I've had experience with 3 different ones because I bought the package from St. Lawrence Nursery. And so it had King of the North in it, Beta, and Valiant. And the King of the North took right off. Within the 2nd year, it had fruit on it and huge leaves, just like, wow. The Valiant come up and it grew. Leaves were about 1/3 of the size of the King of the North. And the Beta looked like a twig that was barely surviving. And it took it forever. This was the first year that the Beta had fruit. And those were planted in 2014, I believe, is the year we planted those grapes. And Valiant finally produced well last year and a half ago. So in the 2nd year, it's produced for 2 years for me. The extension agent talks most people into buying Valiant here in our area because I guess it's what they recognize that it works. But boy, King of the North is by far superior. Well, that's a wrap for Grow Live with Patti and Jackie and sprouting seeds and learning how to purchase some local fruit trees. So we really appreciate you watching this far, and please subscribe, help us out, like us, hit the bell, you know the routine. It can really help us get out to more people. We are sincerely helping people grow nutrient-dense food. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Grow healthy.